Hello everyone, today let's solve the problem number 1148, article views 1. So what the question states here, we are given a table views with the following columns. So article ID of integer type, author ID which is of integer type again, and this one viewer ID of integer type, and the final one here view date they have mentioned, right? So here the table may have duplicate rows, table may have the duplicate rows, means article ID like that. So the table may have duplicate rows. For each row represents a article being that is viewed by a viewer on a particular date. So the author ID column represents the writer of the article, and the viewer ID column represents the person who viewed it, right? So basically the author ID column represents the writer of the article, and the viewer ID column represents the person who viewed it. So that's what it states, the question states, right? What we need to do then, we have to write a SQL query to find all the authors who have viewed at least one of their own articles. So mainly this one, just keep this in mind. We have to write the query or the SQL query to find all the authors who have viewed at least one of their own articles, right? So the result should be sorted in ascending order of the author ID. The result should be always sorted in the ascending order of the author ID. So we need to find all the authors who have viewed at least one of their own articles, and we need to the result should be sorted in ascending order of the author ID. These two things we have to keep in mind. I hope the question is completely clear what we need to do here. In this case, see here, we have 4 and 7. You can clearly see here we have 4 and 7, right? So let's discuss the approach first and then write the query. So here you can clearly see 7 has viewed their own article with the viewer ID 7, and 4 as well, 4 twice here, right? So first we have to, in the question they have mentioned, the result should be sorted in the ascending order of the author ID. So the output here has to be 4 and 7, right? So let's discuss the approach first, followed by the then let's write the query. So here the first step here is we will filter the authors who viewed their own articles. We have to filter the authors who has viewed their own articles, right? So this one is very important. We will filter the authors who viewed their own articles, right? So then within this, a person views their own article if author ID equals viewer ID. Author ID has to be equal to viewer ID. Then only the person views their own article, right? So this one just keep in mind, author ID has to be viewer ID, right? This one we have already seen in the example, right? So that's what we saw in the example one, if you remember previously. So in the second step, so we have to select the distinct author IDs to avoid the duplicates. So we don't have to go with the duplicates, we have to mention it only once, right? So we had 4 twice, if you remember in the first example we only considered 4 once, then we went with 7, right? So we should not consider 4 twice here in this case, right? So we will go with the we have to select distinct author IDs to avoid the duplicates. So this one we have to keep in mind. So we have to select the distinct author IDs to avoid the duplicates. Just keep this in mind. This is very important basically, or else you will go with the repetition, or with the repetition, or you will return the this one as well, duplicates as well. Just keep this in mind. This step is very important. Then after the second step, we will sort the result in ascending order. They have asked in the question, so we have to sort the value in the ascending order, right, based on the author ID. So that's what we will be sorting the result in the ascending order finally. So this is the approach that we will be going with. I hope the approach is completely clear. Now let's start writing the here. What we will do first, we will select the unique author IDs and we will rename that one as ID. So I'll just give here select. So to select the unique author ID, we'll be going with the distinct keyword, right? So we'll be going with author ID. As I have said, we will select unique author IDs and rename that one as IDs first. So I'll just make use of as ID here. This is fine. So the next step, we will query from the views table. We have to query from the views table itself. Here you can clearly see here, this one I'm speaking of, right? So I hope this is clear. I'll just make use of from keyword here. I'll just give here views. This is fine. So next, let's filter rows based on. So we have to filter the rows. That's what we had discussed in the approach, first step, right? So we have to filter the rows, or we will be filtering the rows where author ID equals viewer ID. So author ID has to be equal to viewer ID. If you remember in the approach, I said a person who views their own article, if author ID equals viewer ID. So first thing is filter the authors who viewed their own articles. Within that, I said a person who views their own article if author ID equals viewer ID, right? That's what we are writing in the form of query here. We will filter rows where author ID equals viewer ID, right? Self viewed here. So I'll just make use of where keyword here, where author ID equals viewer ID. So this is fine. So the final step here is we have to sort the result in ascending order, if you remember. So I'll just make use of order by class here. So this one, order by ID. This is fine. So I hope this is clear. This is it for the query. Let me hit the run button. I hope this works. Let's see. So what happened here? Unknown network. So let me unknown network. So just give me. So we were having the network error, I think. Let me hit the run button again here. So let's wait for some time. Yeah, now you can clearly see the sample test cases. The sample test case is getting passed here. So the query works absolutely correct on this case, right? So let me hit the submit button now. So here you can clearly see all the test cases are getting passed here. Means the query works absolutely correct on this case, right? I hope the query whatever we have written is completely clear, right? For now, this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.